Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Patriots Touchback Podcast, Season 3, Episode 24. Week 6 is upon us. Can you believe it? We are now nearly a third of the way into the season. It's gone absolutely hell quickly. But we have our preview show tonight on our second of 3 road trips. This time we head over down to the Big Easy to face the New Orleans Saints. And tonight I am absolutely delighted to have James Baker from the Dome Patrol UK podcast. The link for Dome Patrol UK website is down in the description below. So make sure you click on that and make sure you go follow them on their podcast. Kieran is with me on standby as always to be my host. Make sure you smash the like button, Gronk spike the subscribe button, tell all your friends, follow us on our social media platforms, and make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and on Apple as well. Without further ado, let's crack on with the show. James, good evening. It's been a very, very long time since the last time that we spoke, like 4 or 5 years. How are you? It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm really good, thanks, man. And it's a pleasure to be on. Pleasure to be on your show.
It's great to have you back, mate. And Kieran, as always, good to have you on, mate. You enjoyed your week. Obviously, you was available for Tuesday for the Bills Slack review. But I'm pretty sure you saw the replay of it.
Yeah. Obviously very happy. I think we pretty much expected, going by our preseason predictions, to be 3-2, and not quite in the manner that it happened though.
No.
We're kind of thinking that we'd lose to Buffalo and Miami and win the Pittsburgh and the Raiders game, and it's kind of gone a bit
reversed.
Yeah. But we're exactly where we thought we would be record wise, and yeah, really happy, especially with the positives coming out of Sunday and the schedule coming up. So yeah, really happy.
James, both teams are coming off the back of rather back-off wins, one of which was us taking out the Buffalo Bills. You got your first win of the season last week against the New York Giants, which now I find that quite incredibly funny because the Giants went and defeated the Eagles last night. So tell us a bit about the Saints. Obviously, just sitting on 1-4, not the most ideal spot, but tell us how you think the team. How do you think the team is, and what you saw through training camp, what you saw through the draft, and how's it been built, and what have you made so far with Kellen Moore?
Well, I think to start with the record, we are about where I thought we were going to be at the start of the season. So on the Dome Patrol podcast, we do a season preview like the week before the season, where we all take a stab at what we think our final record's going to be. I'm notorious on the podcast for being the positive one. I always try to have us winning games and having a winning record in the season. I predicted we would be 4-13, I think, is what I predicted our record would be this year. So 1-4 is pretty much where I expected us to be. The one thing I would say is we've been a lot closer in some of the games than I thought we were going to be. So the opening game of the season against the Cardinals, we could have taken that to overtime with the last play of the game. Our $30 million, $10 million a year tight end that we re-signed in the summer dropped a touchdown catch with seconds to go that would have tied the game up. We were driving to win the game against the 49ers in week 2 and couldn't quite get the job done. We then went to Seattle and we were 21-0 down after 6 minutes of the game. Had an absolute disaster there and ended up getting really badly beat by the Seahawks. And then we went to Buffalo, and that's the game where I thought we were going to be exposed and where I thought we would end up being really badly beaten. But we actually kept it close. We lost 30-19, but we could have taken the lead in the fourth quarter with about 5 minutes left. So, we've played them really close and obviously beat the Giants last week. Very much helped by them turning the ball over on 5 consecutive drives in the third and fourth quarter. So we're about where I thought we would be. In terms of how we were feeling, I mean, after the draft, we drafted a left tackle in the first round, who's playing really well so far, Kelvin Banks.
Yep.
That's two tackles in a row we've drafted in the first round. So we've got Talifuaga on the playing a right tackle and Kelvin Banks playing a left tackle. So it looks as though we've got the bookends at the end of the offensive line now. The controversial pick in the draft this year was who we took at pick 40, and that was quarterback Tyler Shuck, who everybody assumed would end up winning the starting job through training camp. Some other rookies as well that we drafted that are contributing already into the team. Jonas Sanka, the safety we drafted in the third round, one particularly who's really turned up and started playing well this year. But yeah, I think the big thing for us in the offseason was the quarterback battle, because obviously Derek Carr retired just before the draft. It was likely that he wasn't going to play this year anyway because of an injury, but he decided to just pack it in and retire. So we knew we were going into the season with a young quarterback, whether it be somebody we drafted in the first or second round, or Spencer Rattler, who played a few games last year. To be fair, Spencer Rattler won the job in training camp and through preseason. He was the better of the two quarterbacks. The ironic thing is he is around about the same age as Tyler Shuck, because obviously you know the story of Tyler Shuck being in college for 7 years or 6 years or whatever it was. So he came into the league as a 26-year-old, which is unusual.
Which is Brandon Wheat. We're looking at Brandon Wheaton type of age and that sort of. But then again, Dylan Gabriel for the Browns, he's 25, so it's not that much difference.
No, not that much different. But yeah, so Spencer Rattler won the job, and so far this season he's exceeded my expectations, and I think he's probably exceeded the expectations of most Saints fans, because I think he got He got 6 starts last year. Yeah, he got 6 starts last year when Derek Carr got injured, and showed flashes for a quarter, and then would throw interceptions or would take sacks and turn the ball over, fumble the ball. But that's one thing he's not doing this year. You know, his stats on paper are not going to wow you. He hasn't been throwing the ball all over the place, but he's been safe, which, you know, as a young quarterback with a roster that isn't the strongest, is probably what you want. But the last couple of weeks, he started to open up a little bit. And obviously we had the 87-yard touchdown last week against the Giants. And I think he's getting more and more comfortable. And for now he's got his first win, because he was 0-10 before last week. Now he's got his first win. I think it started quieting in the crowd a little bit around when does Tyler Shuck get a go. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that's going to happen at some point this season, because we're going to need to see what we've got. But for now, Spencer Rattler's the man.
I think, you know, going into the season, James, you know, with all due respect to the Saints, I think, you know, from a personal perspective here, I was expecting you guys to be the clear-cut worst team in the NFL this year. I was pretty strong on you guys are going to pick number 1 overall in the draft next year. You're probably going to draft Garrett Nussmeier because his dad's the OC for you guys, like stays in Louisiana. I was quite strong on that. So I've been really pleasantly surprised by how competitive you've been in games so far. So I guess my question is, like, despite the 1-4 record, are you quite pleased with what you've seen from the Saints so far?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, 1-4 is not ideal. You know, I want the Saints to win every game they play. I knew going into this season that wasn't going to be the case. And, you know, there were times during the offseason where I thought, like you know, genuinely we might be the worst team in the league this year. But we're not. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're in the bottom half, you know, we're in the bottom 5 or 6 teams, but there are teams worse than we are this year. My thing for the season was I want to see young players step up and show they can be building blocks for the future, especially if we're going to be picking high. And I wanted the season to be fun, because the last 2 years with Derek Carr as quarterback and Dennis Allen as head coach until he was fired, they've not been fun to watch. It's been a real slog. When the schedule was released, when I found out that we had no primetime games, so I wasn't going to have to stay up until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to watch any Saints games this year, I was really, really happy. But they've given me exactly what I wanted. We've got young players stepping up and showing that they can be building blocks, and the games have been entertaining. Apart from the Seattle game, that was a tough watch, but the games have been entertaining, and we've been close in all of them, and we really put up a good fight.
Over the years, with the Saints have been, obviously, I don't want to give you PTSD. We have to go back to the day at 2018 when the bogus of call in the NFC Championship completely.
Yeah, we don't like
you.
talking about that one.
I know you don't like talking about it, but but this is the thing. Ever since that moment, it seems like the Saints have just, I wouldn't say fallen off, but you're still trying to compete, even though you haven't got the horses to go into battle with. And over time, it has slowly got. For me personally, it slowly got worse. Now, your owner, Mickey Loomis, okay, he's not like a Jerry Jones or a David Tepper or anybody like that, but he has still looked at this. He still looked at this franchise. He still looked at this squad and feel like they still can be competitive, whereas a few others would be like, we haven't got the players here for this. It's going to be one of those seasons where, because what I've noticed as well is obviously people say the cap space is a myth. People can do with what they want with that, but the cap, we're on your side of things, is not exactly looking healthy, and it hasn't done for years. It looks like he's been kicked the can down the road for a few times now. Is that going to it's not going to sort of derail your season, but the longer it continues, is that going to be will it reach a point where it goes, do you know what, we're going to have to start from scratch again?
Yeah, so sorry, just to clarify, Mickey Loomis is the general manager, not the owner.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Our owner is Gail Benson.
Okay.
So it was Tom Benson, but he passed away, and Gail Benson will go. But
Right.
Mickey Loomis is the GM now.
Now,
Mickey Loomis is not a popular person with Saints fans. He was a popular person when we had Sean Payton as head coach and Drew Brees at quarterback, because Drew Brees those two could get us through most things. You know, for a couple of seasons, Drew Brees had no wide receivers whatsoever, but was still throwing for 4,500 yards a year. You know, so that helped. And the whole kicking the can down the road thing is, we're kind of out of that now. So as it stands right now, I think we've got the 13th or 14th most cap space in the league right now as it stands. Now, don't get me wrong. In the off season, we need to do a lot of maneuvering to get into that position. But Derek Carr retiring has actually done us quite a big favor in terms of our cap space, and we have been trying to manage it back to not being as bad as it was. I mean, I think it was 2 off seasons ago we went into the off season $100 million over the cap. You know, so to your point, that has caused us problems in the past, and this season is we're hoping is going to be the lowest of the low before it starts coming out the other way. So I think they are trying now to be a little bit more financially responsible with some of the things they're doing. I mean, don't get me wrong, he will still throw ghost years onto contracts if he needs to extend out deals. But I think the cap issues we've had, like I said, this is a symptom of the cap issues we have, but we are on our way out of that now, which is going to be really good to see. We might actually sign somebody on the first day of free agency next year, and that'll be the first time that's happened for years.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at spot. Sorry, Kieran. I'm looking at Spot Track right now, which is basically the salary caps for all NFL teams. Yeah. The Saints right now sit at 20th with 11.6.
Yeah, I knew it was middle, somewhere in the middle. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you looked at that this time last year, we wouldn't have been 20th. We would have been 32nd.
Go on, Kevin.
Yeah, you obviously, while we're on the topic of the front office and Mickey Loomis, obviously you mentioned, James, the players you brought in the draft, and you seem to have a hit with Banks and Sanka, and we quite liked Stutzman coming out of Oklahoma when he was a prospect there. But Tyler Shuck is a name obviously we've already mentioned on the podcast. Now, I was once again quite critical and quite strong on that draft pick, of the sense that I thought it was a complete waste. Like, I didn't understand. It wasn't just from the Saints' perspective. It was more just like him as a prospect, like why a 26-year-old injury-prone rookie would be of appeal anything beyond like day 3 on the draft. So if Rattler continues to play this well, like how bad does that pick potentially look going forward?
Yeah, so I'm of the opinion that you should keep drafting quarterbacks until you find one. Very, very much of that opinion. Now, that's not saying you draft a quarterback in the first round every year, because that's just not possible. You wouldn't have a team otherwise. When he, I mean, as a prospect, so one of the guys who covers the Saints in the media, Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football. He's got his own website and his own podcast and stuff like that. He was really intrigued by Tyler Shough through the process of the draft. Yes, there were concerns about his injury history and his age, but when he was fit and when he was putting it together, he looked like he could be the best quarterback in the class last year. Granted, didn't happen very often. So yeah, I wasn't against the pick. To your point, I'm very much of the opinion that Spencer Rattler has done nothing as it stands right now to justify losing that starting job. And like I said earlier on, he's exceeding expectations. However, if we are 3-10 when it comes to week 13 or 14, I can't remember where our bye is, I think Tyler Shough has got to be given some games so we can see what we've got. If Spencer Rattler is the man, then Tyler Shough may be available trade and we might get something back. It won't be a second round pick for sure. But yeah, I guess until the end of the season, it's a difficult question to answer until I've seen him actually take live snaps in an NFL game, which will happen at some point this year. But yeah, I think ask me again at the end of the year and I'll tell you. Now, there are players that were picked in the 40s that are performing week in, week out in the NFL at the moment. The one that stands out to me, and I think he was picked just after Tyler Shough, is the cornerback from Arizona, Will Johnson, the one from Michigan, I think he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been really good, and we could have really done with a cornerback after trading Marshawn Lattimore to Washington last year. But, it's a tough question to answer until I see Tyler Shough play, because he might come into the team and be unbelievable.
Yeah, and I guess it's one of them as well, isn't it? Because, like, the longer Shough isn't playing, the older he's getting. And do you really, if Rattler continues to keep him out of the team, are you really wanting to gamble on someone who is already 26? And if he doesn't get in till next season, he's going to be 27. And then suddenly it's just like he's going to be approaching like veteran age without even really taking many snaps.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And, at some point, there's going to have to be a difficult conversation with Spencer Rattler. I think Kellen Moore's going to have with him, say, listen, what you've done has been really, really good. We know what we've got with you, but we got to give the other guy a chance because we've got to see what he is and what he's got. Listen, the Saints don't have a very good record of second-round draft picks in recent years. So, yeah, this one might be another failed second-round draft pick.
We're the same.
I hope it isn't, but it might be.
Wow, maybe not this year. We're still waiting for Trayvon Henderson to break out.
Yeah, I'm quite cool with this year, but yeah, in previous years with some of the
previous second round picks has been absolute dog water. There's no got a comment here from the Saints of City and me. Big up to you. He said, just been Dan Campbell's first season at the Lions. Plenty of fight and build on it. Yeah, that's probably a good comparison for it in my honest opinion. The state of your division. So obviously the Buccaneers are head and shoulders above everybody else at this moment in time. The Falcons, I mean, well, since we're Patriots fans, I was already repping up the Super Bowl hat already, so you know what I'm about. And the Panthers, who we expect them to be absolutely horrid, I don't know. They're like Jekyll and Hyde team. They're either very good or very shit. You just can't choose. What chance do you give the Saints I'm not going to say make the postseason, but get to a competent record with a division that you're in, where it should really be only be the Bucks and the Falcons that'll be contested for the division and possibly wild card.
Yeah, I came into the season not expecting anything in terms of postseason or getting into the playoffs or anything like that. I think if we start with the Panthers, you explained it right. They are the complete Jekyll and Hyde team. They beat the Falcons 30-0 and then got annihilated the week after, and then they went and beat Arizona this last week. Completely Jekyll and Hyde. The Falcons, yeah, I don't really like talking about them. We don't like them in New Orleans at all. So I'm just going to say it to you now. Thank you very much for 28-3. That's one of the most favorite non-Saints games that Saints fans will ever watch. And then the Bucks. I mean, I have I don't know whether pleasure is the right word, but I am going over to watch the Saints play the Bucks in 2 weeks' time. So in 2 weeks' time, I will actually be over in New Orleans, probably drunk somewhere in a bar. But yeah, so the pleasure, I don't think is the right word.
Somewhere on Bourbon Street.
Yeah, so pleasure of going to see the game, I don't think is the right word. Sorry, just going to interject there quickly. That trip. So you had a comment from the Saints City Me that they're friends of mine, Saints fans. I'm going over with them. So there's a big group of us from the UK going over to watch that Tampa Bay game. There's about 15 or 16 of us, I think, going over to watch it. So yeah, big shout out to them. The Bucks are clear head and shoulders above the division, and I think there is a chance that they might end up being the number one. That they're going to be in the conversation for having the number one seed in the NFC this year. Baker Mayfield, I would say at the moment, he's got to be in the MVP conversation as well with the way he's played. They're gonna walk away with the division. They might have it sewn up by Thanksgiving the way it's going, because the rest of the division is going to cannibalize itself, I think.
The problem with the Falcons is that they play one good game, that they've got no level of consistency about them. That's the only thing I see about it anyway.
Yeah, and obviously they're playing Michael Penix, who he was definitely a polarizing person in the draft process when he came out, and I was stunned when they drafted him with, I think it was the 9th pick that year.
8th or 9th, Kieran?
8th or 9th, but he.
Yeah,
I think so. But he is very much up and down. He's brilliant one week and then he's terrible. Against the Panthers, he was terrible, but then played really well the week after. So I think this will be the 4th year in the row that the Bucks will win the division. So one of the 3 teams that are remaining need to do something about that.
Yeah, no, you definitely do. Let's go into your players, shall we? Obviously you talked about Spencer Rattler. There's one player that, if I am pinpointing on the offensive side of the ball, which I'm a little bit concerned about. First of all, it's not Alvin Kamara, and it's not Chris Olave. It's your speed freak, Rashid Shaheed. Now, he's a very fast guy, amazing deep threat. I do know the Saints, when they do play at home, they do like to throw the deep ball. That seems to be a staple when it comes to your offense. That's something our secondary's got to be very, very careful on. Christian Gonzalez is going to be, from what I'm gathering, is going to be a game time decision. I'm not expecting Gonzo to be on Rashid Shaheed. I'm expecting him to be on Chris Olave and stamp him down to 2 catches for 30 yards or something along those lines. Yes, so Rashid Shaheed is a dangerous player as far as we're concerned. But on your side of the ball, on your side of things, who would you pinpoint on offense? Obviously minus our quarterback. Who would you pinpoint on offense who you've got to try and keep like someone locked up on to stop us from progressing?
Yeah, I mean you've highlighted him. Shaheed is a real weapon in our passing game. The frustrating thing for us as Saints fans is that touchdown that he scored last week. That's the first time this season we've really done something like that. It's the first time where Spencer Rattler's actually let it go, and Rashid Shaheed has got behind the opposing secondary to score a big touchdown like that. Now, listen, there's a chance he could do that 2 or 3 times a game. I mean, I think I saw a stat this week where in the last 10 years, his average yards per touchdown, so is something like 47.9 yards per touchdown. So, that's his average touchdown yardage, which is the most it's been in the league for like the last 10 years. So it's definitely an option for the offense to go to. But if you want me to give you somebody who you might not have ever heard of who's really stepped up his game this year, it's Kendre Miller, the running back.
Yes, he's been taking touches off Alvin Kamara. That's what I'm seeing through fantasy stats anyway.
Yeah, he has. So this is his 3rd year with the Saints, and in his first 2 years, he was drafted in the 3rd round out of TCU, 4th round, 3rd round, I can't remember now. So he's always been hyped up that he was going to be the one to come in and take over from Alvin Kamara, but it's just never happened. The first season, the head coach Dennis Allen and him had a falling out. Then there was an issue in the second season where he got injured, and it was only going to be like a 2-week injury, but then they put him on 4-week IR, so he wasn't available for that. There were issues of picking up the playbook and not getting his blocking assignments right and things like that. However, Kellen Moore's come in and he's completely flipped it for him. And he was impressive through training camp. And he's been really impressive in the carries he's had this year. Now his snap counts have gone up each week. So last week was his highest. He's got the highest amount of yards after contact for a running back in the NFL this year. And him and Alvin Kamara are a really good twosome. That do different things. And obviously, you know what Alvin Kamara can do. He's been in the league long enough. But this kid's, I think, he's going to be the future of the running back room for the Saints. And I definitely say he's one to watch out for, especially if our offensive line get it together and actually block for him properly. Because a lot of his runs, he's actually getting hit around or over the line of scrimmage. So he's not even making it to the line of scrimmage before he's having to avoid contact. So yeah, he would definitely be one, and then the other one would be the Swiss Army knife.
Oh God, yeah.
So Taysom Hill came back
Taysom Hill.
So Taysom Hill got injured last year, and we were told that it was going to be potentially a year that he was going to be missing. He got injured in December, I think, and he was going to be injured, and he was going to be out for a year. He came back last week. Now, he didn't have much of an impact last week. The Giants actually bottled him up, running the ball pretty well. But he's going to have another week of practice and another week of reps under his legs. He's definitely somebody that can be an absolute game changer for us on offense. And I'm not sure if it's somebody you would have considered, considering he's been injured for so far this season.
Yeah, I think Taysom Hill is a problem to deal with. Not only him as a running back, he plays in a multiple number of positions. He's played running back. He can throw the ball very well. Obviously, he's a tight end. So in fantasy, he is down as a tight end. So, that's his actual preferred position. But there's so many things. I love a versatile player in the NFL. You could just plug and play in different spots. Usually on the defensive side of the ball, I don't really see anyone really on offense at all. You're usually stuck playing one position. But Taysom Hill is something completely different. The problem is, though, he's constantly injured all the time. When he plays, he's a problem to deal with. But when he's not on the field, I think there is a bit of star power that you actually are missing on that offense when he's not on the field.
Oh, no, for sure. And he was really missed in the first 4 weeks of the season. And just the buzz that was around Saints online, Saints Twitter last week, when there was a rumor that so he was upgraded from IR and was practicing, and then it came out on Thursday night last week that no, he's not just practicing, he is actually going to play, and there's going to be a role for him on Sunday. And ironically, his best play on Sunday was one where he was playing quarterback. So he took the snap and 20-yard pass completed to Juwan Johnson, the tight end, which, when Taysom Hill comes in the game, you automatically assume run. But because he's a quarterback, he can throw the ball.
Just looking at your roster as a whole, James, you mentioned the younger players that are coming through and are getting opportunities, which is great to see. Particularly Kool-Aid McKinstry with his 2 picks last week. But there are a number of players on the roster that are, in their twilight years, to put it nicely. Do you anticipate there being not so much a fire sale, but some movement maybe towards the trade deadline, and maybe from that point onwards heading into next season, where you seem to see a lot of these veterans be moved on?
I mean, there's already stories coming out that the Saints are definitely looking to be sellers in the lead up to the trade deadline. So the one this week that very much came out was the Pittsburgh Steelers during their bye week approached us for what it would take to trade for Rashid Shaheed. He is out of contract this year. So if we can't tie him down to a contract, then we've got to try and get something back for him. He's probably one of our most tradable players ability-wise. But the issue is because he's only got 6 months left on his contract, we're not going to get a huge amount back in terms of trade compensation. So I do anticipate there being some movement outwards. I certainly don't see us trading people in the state we're in. Dependent. I mean, we might win the next 4 games. I doubt it, but it might change. But yeah, there's definitely going to be. I wouldn't say it's going to be a fire sale as such. But you mentioned Danny Stutzman before, somebody that you like coming out of college. He's only getting special teams reps at the moment. Now in training camp, he was reported to be looking really good. And we've got Demario Davis. So you all know who Demario Davis is. He's 36. And then the other linebacker is a guy called Pete Werner, who is probably more tradable in terms of his age and his contract than Demario Davis is. I wouldn't be against Pete Werner being traded away to give Danny Stutzman reps, because like I said about Tyler Shuck, we've got to see what we've got there. You can't, you've got to give him a chance to show what he can do. You've all seen his college tape. He looked really good in the college. You've got to try and see if it transpires that way. Chris Olave is another one that might be up for trade. He is going into next year, so we've taken up the 5th year option. But he might be somebody that might be available for trade as we move into the off season coming up. Into the trade deadline.
I think just Chris Olave, just quickly, is like, there's no doubt he's a great player ability wise. Like, lots of teams would love to have him, but I think the thing that's gonna restrict perhaps the value on him is the concussion history, because you do fear for him, like Tua with the Dolphins, that if he gets another concussion, that could be it, So that's the real worry with Chris Olave, and I think that might put a few teams off wanting to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, he missed a lot of time last year with concussions, but he's looked okay this year. He's been the most targeted receiver. There's been a few drops. Although it was interesting, a stat came out this week. PFF claimed he had no drops this year, and I was like, no, I've seen him drop at least 3 or 4 passes. So I don't know how PFF do their stats. I never trust those stats when I see them. But there's a chance that Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, neither of them will be on the team next year. I mean, we traded for Devaughn Vele from the Broncos at the start of the season, but then we also traded for
Mason Polk. Oh yeah. Oh no! No! If he fucking scores a touchdown against us,
no, he's injured. He's on IR.
He's on IR. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's on IR, so he's not going to play. So we are looking towards next season with potentially neither Shaheed or Olave on the team. So yeah, they are both definite trade candidates. But yeah, I mean, I would say there's probably not one player on the team that doesn't have some sort of trade value for the Saints this year. I mean, there's players I wouldn't trade, like the 1st round pick we took this year, left tackle. You keep him, or you only trade him for a really high pick. But yeah, there's definitely a chance there's going to be a few movements when it comes to the trade deadline this year.
I think Cam Jordan is also someone that you probably won't trade either, because not only is he the cornerstone, he's also the leader of that defense. And I think if you traded Cam Jordan, there might be a little bit of unbalance.
Yeah, he's actually playing quite well this year. I mean, both him and Demario Davis, at some point there's going to be a drop off. They're gonna fall off a cliff in terms of what they do, but it hasn't happened yet. And I think Cam Jordan's going to retire a Saint. I mean,
he will.
He's on 100 and I think he's on 124 and a half sacks now. A few more sacks this year, and you're probably getting into the conversation where at some point he's going to get into the Hall of Fame, because everybody who gets to, I think it's 128 sacks and above, is in the Hall of Fame. So
he's going to end up in the Saints Hall of Fame. That's a given.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely for sure. But yeah, it's I don't see Cam Jordan being traded. I think of our edge rushers, Carl Granderson is the one who probably would be the one more likely to be traded, because we've only just signed Chase Young. Cam Jordan's going to stay. Not that I want them to be traded.
No.
Certainly not before I go to watch a game out there in 2 weeks. If they could just do the trades after that, that'd be fine.
Yeah. Let's flip the script, shall we? And talk a bit about our team. From you as a neutral perspective, obviously you're our opponent. What have you made so far of the Patriots so far this season? We spoke a little bit how, we're 3-2. We should have won games that we lost, and we've lost games that we actually should have won. It's been a bit of a helter-skelter type of the 5 weeks. But what have you made so far of the team itself, of Vrabel, and obviously Drake Maye into his second year and finally having his breakout last Sunday?
Yeah, so when we were looking for a head coach this year, going into this season, Vrabel was somebody who was very, very high on my list of people that I would want. I would have wanted to have been the Saints head coach. I thought he did a really good job in Tennessee. Obviously, it all fell apart a bit for him there, mainly quarterback related, I think. But
I think it was more of a case of he didn't want AJ Brown traded, and they traded AJ Brown to Philadelphia. The minute that happened, I think the minute that franchise fell apart.
They basically prioritized the general manager over him, and the general manager got sacked like a few months later. So.
Power struggle, basically.
It's crazy, isn't it? And there was talk that he was scheduled to come to interview with the Saints after he interviewed with you guys, but I think you just basically got him into a room, tied him to a chair, and said, "You're signing this contract," and didn't let him out the building, which I think was the right thing to do. So yeah, so Vrabel I very much like as a head coach. In terms of Drake Maye, I liked what I saw from him last year. There was definitely, I think if I was a Patriots fan last year watching, I would have been like, yeah, I think we've got our quarterback.
That was the only thing we can say, yeah, okay, we're incredibly happy with is our quarterback. Everything else around him was just, you might as well have put tracing paper around him, because the O-line was the equivalent of tracing paper. We had no receivers to throw to apart from Hunter Henry. The running game was Ramondre Stevenson and his fumbleitis issues, which he still has. And really, the defense was keeping us in games. And that still remains to be seen. But now this year, you see Drake's performing a lot better. He's got not a great offensive line, but we'll say a competent offensive line, Kieran. I think that's the right word to describe it.
I think so. Competent, yeah.
Yeah. Will Campbell has been excellent for us playing at left tackle, and so on. And Stephon Diggs has actually decided to grow up and become an adult for a change, and is actually helping Drake Maye massive amount, especially in the last 2 games he's played. We're still waiting for a couple of receivers to break out. Chief among which is our rookie receiver we got in the 3rd round out of Washington State, Kyle Williams. Yeah. And this is, I've said this to you, Kieran, already. I said McDaniels is bringing out the playbook very, very slowly for Drake. And at some point, it's going to be one game where he's like, right, I'm confident in you now to just release it. And there was a bit of game footage of someone caught. Kyle Williams took 10 snaps against the Bills. On 7 of his 10 routes, he was wide open.
Yeah.
He's getting there. And I think that deep ball is going to be there at some point. Will it happen this week? Well, obviously, you don't want to know, James. But, we finally might be able to see it, because we know he's got a bazooka of an arm in him. The only thing that worries me with the passing game, your defense is ranked 9th in passing, but you're actually ranked 20th against the run.
Yep.
which is a little bit, which might help, which we prefer to run the ball. So if you can't stop the run, it's going to be a game of cat and mouse.
Well, that's the reverse of what we were all expecting in the offseason. We were expecting our run defense to be really, really good. I mean, we took Devon Godshaw from you to be that nose tackle in the 3-4 that we tend to run, and we thought that our cornerbacks and secondary were going to be the ones that were going to struggle, but actually, it's proven to be the other way around.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback Carl's original question and sort of say, we tend to ask this to every guest we have on is, Carl asked you like the opinion on the Patriots, but what's the general feeling amongst the Saints fan base heading into the game this weekend? Obviously, off the back of your win last week and off the back of a big win for us.
Yeah, so speaking for myself, after we beat the Giants on Sunday, I suddenly became very, very confident that we could win this Sunday. It's at home, get a bit of momentum going. You were playing the Bills, and there's me thinking, well, I can't see the Patriots going to Buffalo and winning a game there. And then you did what you did, and then you basically put a pinprick in my optimism for the result this weekend.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah. Maybe a better phrase needed there, but yeah, I listen. Could the Saints win this weekend? Yes, I think we could.
This is a trap game, as far as I'm concerned. This is a trap game for us because coming off the win against the Bills is all great, and I believe I'm now finished with it now. Right, let's move on to next week. But I feel like a lot of fans are still on the come down because they know how significant that game is. This is the sort of game where teams have gone on, they've beaten a big team, they've come on to play a team which they should beat on paper, and they've either shat the bed or they lose in like really bad fashion or something because they're not prepared, they're not zoned in, they're not focused. I look at this game, I think Mike Vrabel, I think he knows this. He think, right, okay, we've got the win, great. But you lot are going to have to zone in now and let's do the job against the Saints. This, for us, is going to be what we call a maturity game. How much have we taken from the Bills game? Because if we lose to you, what we did on last Sunday against the Bills is just going to be an afterthought.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a feeling that this is a game that both teams will have circled in the early part of the season as a game we should win. And I think that's probably, I think if I remember rightly from my predictions, I had us winning 2 games by now, but I did actually predict this right at the start of the season that we would lose this one, but we'd be 2-5, sorry, 2-4. Yeah, but yeah, I was very, very optimistic after we beat the Giants before you played the Bills, but then having watched the rerun of your game against the Bills, I'm like, okay, there's something else there that I haven't seen before. Or haven't seen from a Patriots team for a while, I should say. Not seen before. Haven't seen from a Patriots team for a while. And it kind of dampened my my enthusiasm for the fact that we're going to win this week. It wouldn't surprise me if we did, but I'm now a lot less confident.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The game doesn't get played on paper. It gets played on the field. The Pats are favored by -3.5 to win their game. So by a field goal, you could probably say it's 50-50 the way this game could end up being. It's in the Superdome as well. We've already been in a loud environment already in Highmark Stadium at Buffalo, but the Superdome is a completely different animal. When it gets loud, it gets loud.
Yeah, no. So one of the guys that I'm on the Dome Patrol podcast with is a season ticket holder, goes to every home game. And when we played, it was lively week 1 when we played the Cardinals at home, first game of the season. Week 2 when we played the 49ers, there were a lot of 49er fans in the stadium.
Oh, you got outrun.
It was there was a lot of I mean, listen, New Orleans is a destination city. It's a city where a lot of fans want to go and watch a game.
I thought this only happened to Chargers and Rams, but anyway, carry on.
I think it happens to teams when they're not playing well. I think is what happens.
I think I recall the last Bills game we played. I think the stadium was a third full, and about nearly more than half of it were Bills fans in there. I think it was a case in Foxborough in Week 18 last year.
So even though they advertise every game in the Superdome as a sellout, they're not always. That's just season tickets sold rather than people actually showing up and going to the game. But I think this week, having won last week, that will encourage people to come out. And I've got a feeling it is going to be lively and loud in there.
It will be.
And it's on the team to keep that momentum up, to keep the crowd invested. Because if we start off slowly, which we've tended to do every game this season, we've started slowly and we get behind, the crowd soon goes quiet.
Okay. Right. Let's do our prediction for this game. James, you're our guest. You get to go first. Are you going to be a homer, or are you going to go with your logic pick?
No, so we do on our game preview on our podcast. We all put a score in. I think if I remember rightly, I predicted that it would be 27-24 to the Patriots.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And we've got very, very bad field goal kicking issues this year, and we are going to miss another field goal. That was my extra prediction.
The thing is with Groupie is that he will miss a stupid 30-35 yard field goal. But when it comes to hitting the 55-60 yard, he bombs it down the middle.
Yeah.
It's just, so where's the consistency?
Yeah, so he's missed 5 kicks in 5 games this year. There's only one game where he hasn't missed a kick, and he missed 2 in Seattle, if I remember rightly. You
watch him be bloody automatic against it.
I mean, please.
One thing I will say is the Pats are ranked. What was it? There was something. Where was it? Where was it? Tape. Where is it? Defense. Where it is. Points allowed per game. We're tied 9th for the NFL with 20.2. So that's what we got. Kieran, what have you got?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about a potential trap game, and I hope that isn't the case because from our fan base's perspective, you look at the schedule we've got coming up, and you kind of write off the Tampa Bay game and the Buffalo game, and potentially we could win all the others and end up finishing the season 13-4, which is not going to happen. And I know there was a guy on the Rich Eisen show today that predicted us to go 12-5, but once again, that's getting a bit carried away. I feel like the Saints are quite similar to us defensively at the moment, where don't give a lot up outside the numbers. I think you've got the 3rd highest coverage grade outside the numbers.
Yeah.
But that's where we're strong as well. We seem to be funneling a lot of the yards given up over the middle. So my first prediction, rather than the score prediction, is that I think Juwan Johnson is going to have a big game in this game.
Have you seen him play this year?
It's like he watched Dalton Kincaid against us last week. I know Kincaid's a better tight end, but that whole offense ran through Kincaid. We get shredded over the middle. Safety and linebacker is a big issue for us in coverage. Jalen Hawkins is missing this game. I feel like Juwan Johnson could have 8 to 10 catches. But we haven't given up more than 21 points on defense all season. Obviously, we have Gonzalez back. We're missing a couple of pass rushers. I just feel like if we can keep Shaheed and Olave in check, I don't see a lot of other real threat other than Juwan Johnson, as I said. So I've had a score in my head all week, which was 24-13 New England. However, with the players we now have out on defense, I'm going to give you 3 extra points. And I'm going to go 24-16 New England.
Bingo, bongo, bango. Absolutely same one as you, Kieran. Who'd have thought it? Yep, that is exact. So you got 24-16. That's exactly what I haven't written it. I wrote it down before. I wrote down James and yours. I said 24-16 on mine as well.
Carl, I'm going to give another prediction.
Fuck Jinx, make a wish right now.
I'm going to make another prediction here, Carl, is that Stephon Diggs will get in the end zone for the first time this year. He's due a touchdown. And I think returning to Louisiana, a certain Mr. Podcast favorite, Keyshawn Booty, will score a touchdown as well. Back in his home state, where he lit it up for LSU.
So Stephon Diggs gives Saints fans nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because
you'll know what
former Viking.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, if you don't know the play, then you don't know NFL. But yes, I remember the play.
And he looked damn good against Buffalo at the weekend. He did very impressed.
What ACL tear? What ACL tear is all I'll say. The only prediction I'm going to make is, I hate to say it, but I think Stevenson's going to fumble again. I'm sorry. It's about as common as the sun rising up from the east and setting on the west. I don't think we can get away with this.
Well, hopefully that means more touches for Travion Henderson, because we're still waiting for the breakout.
Well, Terrell Jennings is going to get up for the practice squad and put into the 15-man roster. So it's like he will play for a little part of that as well. I think we're going to need to at some point. Before we get to our Blazing Six, I'm going to throw a trivia question at you. And I don't usually do this, but I was watching something yesterday and I was surprised about this. So the question I'm going to throw to you two is this. It is NFL related. It's not just Patriots or Saints. It's NFL related, okay?
Okay.
There are 16 teams in the NFL that have gone 1-15. There are 6 teams in the NFL that have gone 15-1. Which team has done both?
Oh, wow.
Detroit?
Nope. Well, that was going to be my...
No, to do 15-1 and not make the Super Bowl is a blow up. That is a choke job.
I'm trying to think who have had historically bad seasons. I mean, it can't be Cleveland because
no. Do you want to? The only clue I'll give you is it's in James's conference.
It's NFC.
It's NFC.
I was going to say Falcons.
Atlanta.
No, I don't.
Arizona.
No, not Arizona.
Seattle.
No, it's not Seattle.
I'm trying to think of teams that have gone that might have gone 15-1.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like teams that have gone deep into the postseason off the back of that.
And any kind of hints on an era, rough era
within the last 15 years.
Post 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Panthers went 15-1, but they the Panthers? Yeah, Panthers. Yeah.
Well done. You got it.
Panthers went 15-1, didn't they? And yeah.
Cam Newton.
Yeah. When Cam Newton was quarterback.
15. Yeah. Well done, James. You got that one right. Anybody in the comments got that right? So yeah.
They got pulverized in the Super Bowl though.
Yeah, there was still debate on that whether Cam Newton got paid to not dive on that ball, but I digress.
I was just about to say that's one of the worst plays I've ever seen in a Super Bowl, and you just completely shit yourself and don't go for it.
That might be the worst Super Bowl certainly that I've watched in terms of quarterback quality, because Cam Newton didn't play well and Peyton Manning was absolutely like horrendous in that game. Like Von Miller won that Super Bowl for the Broncos.
Peyton Manning couldn't pass the ball.
Yeah,
no,
he couldn't throw it more than 10 yards downfield.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. We're going to now move into our Blazing Six. The current state of the scoreline as it currently stands right now is all the guests we have on, they also play as well, but they'll all go into one category. So as a guest, they got 14 points. Kieran has got 15 points. And for some reason, I got a prediction wrong, but I got a cover right. So that's half a point for me. So I'm on 15.5 points. So guess what? I am leading this. So all to play for, slim pickings and that. Right, so we've got 6 games on the docket. The first one is obviously the London game, which is Denver at the Jets. Denver are favored by -7.5. James, all you got to do is say, if Denver wins, do they cut? If Denver wins, do they cover? Or the Jets win, they cover, they take the points.
That's a lot of points for a London game. I just think Denver are a much better team than the Jets. Much better team. So I'm going to take Denver to win the game by more than 7.5.
So Denver on the points, yeah?
Yeah, Denver on the points, please.
Kieran?
Yeah, it would be a typical low-scoring London game, wouldn't it? Well, I think Denver are definitely going to win the game. I will not back the Jets to win because they are just the putrid stench of the AFC. But I do think that they will cover the spread because I just do not trust the Denver offense. Like, I think the defense is phenomenal, but like,
oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but their offense is really not that good. And the Jets have played a couple of teams close, so I'm going to go Denver win, but Jets cover the spread.
Okay, so I'm going to go the same on James's route. I'm going to take Denver to win, but I take the points. Screw the Jets. Don't care, really. Screw the Jets. Okay, the next game. Cowboys at Panthers. Cowboys are favored by -3. Kieran, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, well, one of the ones I actually got right last week was picking the Panthers, which you all thought was mad at the time. I ended up busting out.
It was against two really, really bad teams. I don't think it's the end of the world if I didn't choose the Panthers over the Dolphins.
It might have been not as mad as me picking the Ravens, but anyway, I don't think that Carolina have got the firepower to hang with Dallas, to be honest. Dallas have given up a lot of points, but they've also scored an absolute ton. So, yeah, I feel like Dallas will easily cover the spread here.
Okay, Dallas.
I'll take them at the points, yeah.
Okay, James?
Dak Prescott is playing better than I've seen him play for a good few years. He's really, he's really throwing the ball well. And like you said, Kieran, I think they are just going to score more points than Carolina. Carolina won't be able to keep up. Bryce Young, obviously last week, Carolina's win was very much predicated on the running game. Rico Dowdle had an unbelievable game for Carolina last week. They're not going to beat Dallas through the air. Bryce Young is not a good quarterback. He is not a good quarterback. I just think Dallas are going to have way too much. So Dallas and the points for me as well, please.
Full house on that one. Dallas and the points on for me on that one. I think Carolina might run them close, but I think the Cowboys will still win by a score. So this one I think is going to really be a tricky one to decipher. Seattle at the Jaguars. The Jaguars are favored by -1. James, we'll throw it to you first.
I was very skeptical about the Jags this season. Didn't think that Liam Cohen was going to make a good head coach when he left Tampa Bay. There was all the controversy about will he, won't he in the off season as well, and then he wasn't going to go, and then 24 hours later he went. He's got them playing really well. Their defense is really good. Seattle are never quite as good on the road as they are at home. I think I'm going to take the Jags to win by more than a point.
Jags and the points. Okay, Kieran.
This one's really tough. Really tough. I kind of want to go Seattle because I do think they're a better team, but like James makes a really good point, is that they are so streaky on the road, and Sam Darnold has the ability to shit the bed at any time. Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville as well.
Jags and the points?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm lone wolf in this one then. I'm choosing Seattle on the points. And the reason why I'm doing that, Seattle's home record isn't that particularly great. But on the road, they're undefeated. They're undefeated on the road. So I'll take Seattle on the points in that one.
What parallel universe are we living in where the Jags could be 5-1?
2017 all over again, isn't it?
What is going on?
When they had
the Leonard Fournette years.
Led the Leonard the Four of net, yeah, and Saxonville, didn't they?
Yeah. That was Blake Bortles at quarterback as well, wasn't it?
Well, once again, it's the rest of the team carrying the QB. I know Lawrence looked all right the other night against Kansas City, but I still don't think he's that good.
He'll
Oh,
turn
he's
back
not.
in.
He's not what they thought he was going to be when he came out of when he came out of college.
No, he's not.
No.
Okay, I've had to throw a very poor game in here to balance this all out. So we got Tennessee at Vegas. Vegas are favored by -4. Kieran,
Well, I know you always like to put a shit one in there every week.
I have to. It's called balance.
Yeah. I think if I remember rightly earlier when I was looking at the handicap point spreads, I think I remember I went Vegas to win with Titans to cover. I feel like this will be a disgusting game to watch. It'll be quite close. It could go either way, but I feel like the Raiders will just nick it at home. But yeah, I'll have the Titans to cover the spread.
Okay, James.
Yeah, I think the Geno Smith experiment is not quite working for the Raiders. But I think as the game is in Vegas, Kieran, I'm going to go the same as you. I think the Raiders win the game, but I think it's close and it might just be a couple of points in it. So give me the Raiders, but Tennessee to cover, please.
Okay. I mean, this is so shit. You know what? I'm just going to go against the grain on a lot of people's thoughts here. I'm going to just have Vegas take the points. I think at some point they've got to get off the schneid. And Tennessee, that win last week over the Cardinals, that was nothing but goofy and fluky. That was like watching a series of Impractical Jokers. It was just madness. Absolute madness. Okay. Now we got two very good games. Sunday Night Football. Detroit at Kansas City. The Chiefs are favored by -2.5. James.
The Chiefs should not be favored in this game.
They shouldn't be, but clearly Vegas knows something that we don't.
No, I think Detroit are going to go in there and win quite easily. I give me Detroit on both sides, please.
Points, okay, Kieran.
Same. Detroit are the points. I think Detroit are destined for the Super Bowl this year, and I was a little bit worried going into the season, having lost so many of their coaches. Obviously, one of them ended up with us, but they just look. I know they had the bit of a an egg in week one, but they've got the ability to put 40 points on any team in the league easily.
And their defense is performing better than when Aaron Glenn was there last year.
Yeah, I mean, Terrion Arnold's out potentially for the season.
Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed is out as well.
But
the Chiefs have lost Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy's not playing this week.
Yeah,
that's massive for them. So, yeah, I'm going to take Detroit and the points on that as well. And the final game. Now, this is where me and Kieran are going to actually do logical picks, or there's going to be some tribalism involved. Monday Night Football. Buffalo at Atlanta. Buffalo favored by -4.5. James, we'll let you take this last one.
I can never, ever, ever pick the Falcons in anything. So give me Buffalo across the board. That's a very, very heart over head pick. But yeah, I will not ever pick the Falcons.
This is why I chose it last, because this had ramifications on all of us. Go on, Kieran.
4.5.
Yeah.
God. I will take Buffalo to win, but Atlanta to cover.
That is a big spread for a game when Atlanta are at home.
Yeah, it is. And obviously we beat Buffalo in a close game. A lot of their games have been quite close this year. So I feel like on the road, quite close. Falcons defense is all right. They've obviously got a couple of weapons. Atlanta, Bijan, obviously London. So yeah, I'll go with Buffalo win, Atlanta cover.
They're coming off a bye as well, Atlanta. So they're going to have some players back. They're going to be very well rested. Obviously, Buffalo is still licking their wounds from Sunday. They don't have Matt Milano still. Not sure if Ed Oliver, the defensive tackle, is going to be back for them.
I tell you what, Carl. But if we win Sunday, Buffalo drop on Monday, we're top of the division.
That's what I was going to say. You took the words out of my mouth there. I didn't want to throw it on James. Sorry, mate, but if we have to beat you for the Bills to lose, it's for the greater good at the end of the day.
Hey, listen, you want your team to win. I had no issue there whatsoever.
On that note, I'm just giving Atlanta straight up.
You're going to Atlanta to win? Oh my god!
Because I'm being a see you next Tuesday, and guess what? Tribalism has set into me now. I don't care. I don't care anymore. We're back, baby. As I said, we're back. Regular season Super Bowl. Get screwed, Buffalo. Anyway, James, thank you so much for coming on. It is much, much, much appreciated. Just to let everybody know, your description for the Don't Patrol UK podcast is down in the description below. So the website is linked. So go and check them out. They're on you're on Spotify and Apple as well, aren't you?
Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can get your podcasts. Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. Just so what have you got coming? So what have you got coming up?
For what, me personally?
Yeah, me personally or from the pod itself.
Yeah.
Are you going to do like a recording in New Orleans when you go out there, or live show of some kind?
Yeah, no. So we tend to record on a Tuesday, and we do three shows in the week. We do a recap of the game. We do a game preview, and then we do what you've just done there, but we call it pick'ems, where we pick 5 games and we all pick, and we get viewers listeners to come in and do it as well. And then we do an instant reaction show immediately after a game. Well, half an hour after the game, to give Jason, who's a season ticket holder, time to get home before we do the podcast. We do that. So, when I said there was no primetime games, it means I'm not having to do a podcast at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then have to get up for work 3 hours later. But yeah, so I fly out to New Orleans on the 21st of October, which is a Tuesday. I think I'm staying with Jason for a couple of days, who lives in the city. So I think when I get there, we're going to do a recording live when I'm there. But then after the game, all 4 of us that are in the podcast are going to be together for only the second time ever. The other time was when the Saints came to London in 2022, and we'll do a live podcast, probably on the street somewhere outside the stadium, immediately after the game. So yeah, those ones are always the fun ones, the instant reactions, because usually drunk, usually angry or happy. So it's where you get your best content.
So it's basically Arsenal fan. It's basically AFTV, but in New Orleans.
Not quite as extreme as Arsenal fan TV. No, not quite. Although there have been a few moments where it's got lively. But yeah, the one where all 4 of us are together in a couple of weeks is going to be an interesting one, because we're going to have been drinking all day, because it's a 3:30 kickoff over in America. So what's that, 9:30 for us, isn't it? So there's going to be tailgating all day. All day.
That'll be amazing. That'll be amazing. Obviously,
yeah, I can't wait. I've not been out there since 2017, so I'm really looking forward to getting out there and going to watch a game in the Dome again.
And I'm sure you'll be indulging in the traditional New Orleans cuisine, because I've heard very good things. Never been there myself, but everyone says how great it is.
Yeah. I'm already booked into a couple of places. Friends are taking me to other places that they go to, like people who live in the city. So yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to sampling the food.
I'm not sure if you've ever been there, James, but another thing, and Will Campbell actually spoke about this on a podcast a few weeks ago. There's a thing in the South, particularly in Louisiana and Mississippi, a chain restaurant called Raising Cane's.
Yeah, it's a chicken place. Yeah.
Supposedly, it's the best in America. But
I think there's a few opening in the UK.
There you go.
Soon. Yeah. So Raising Cane's is owned by a guy called, I think his name's Todd Graves. He's one of the richest people in Louisiana, and he is who people want to buy the Saints. So Saints fans want him to buy the Saints. The guy who runs Raising Cane's. But yeah, no, it's a very famous chicken place. Yeah. If I have some, I'll report back.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, no, I will. But yeah, no, there's plenty of food, plenty of drink. I'm looking forward to.
We'll check on TripAdvisor for the reviews. So,
yeah, no, please do.
Yeah. Now,
if you ever go to Boston, give me a shout and I'll let you know where to get some good food.
Yeah. So I've been to Boston once, but that was back in when was it? 2003. So, do you like baseball?
No.
So you're not Red Sox fans. Okay, so there's a very famous game in 2003 where the Red Sox lost in Game 7 of the ALCS to the Yankees on a extra innings home run from Aaron Boone. I was in the city that night, and yeah, they weren't happy.
Imagine.
No,
Cars, bins, things getting thrown through windows. It was a lively night.
Fucking hell, I thought only the Vancouver Canucks done that. Jesus Christ.
No. They do it in Boston too.
I didn't even know, No, we're not baseball. I mean, we did give a shout out to the Red Sox to say good luck in their wild card series, and well, that fell flat on
it didn't work, did it?
Anyway. That didn't work.
It's the only American sport I don't like. You know, I'm quite happy to back the Celtics and the Bruins as well, but just, I'm not into baseball.
Yeah.
Like, I think just being a Brit, you know, we have cricket, they have baseball. I'd rather watch cricket.
So the Monday night after the Saints Bucks game, the Pelicans are playing the Celtics in New Orleans, and I've got a ticket for that as well.
Nice.
Oh,
So I'm going to be watching the Pelicans versus the Celtics on the Monday night too.
How much does that cost you? Because I'm probably guessing
$50. That the ticket's $50 for that.
Jeez, that's actually quite cheap, to be fair.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it helps if you know people.
Yes, definitely. James, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Much appreciated. And obviously, I would say good luck to you. Good luck to your season, but good luck to your Saints for the remaining of the season.
Yeah, just not this week, right?
Just not this week, but for the rest of this season, yeah, absolutely. Kieran, as always, thank you so much, mate. Much appreciated. And next week's preview will be against Tennessee. So we are talking
Mike Vrabel derby. Come on.
Mike Vrabel. This is going to be the Music City Massacre. Let's put it that way. But that's for next week. But for now, we're getting on out of here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. Smash the like button on your way out. Gronk, spike the subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Follow us on our social media platforms. And make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple. We'll be back on Tuesday for the review of the Saints game. Obviously, they'll have a whole crew with us this time round. But for now, we're out of here. Good night. God bless. Go Patriots.